Welcome to Book by Book. We take the best ideas from great books and break them down for you, uh, turning insights into actions you can actually use.
And today we're jumping into a really timely one, I think. It's Ryan Holiday's Stillness is the Key. If you ever feel like, life's moving way too fast to even think straight, then this summary is definitely for you.
Oh, absolutely. And the timing is critical, isn't it? We're living in what Holiday calls the age of noise.
Mhm.
I mean, think about it. Constant pings, endless social media scrolls, this underlying pressure to be on all the time.
Right. And it rewards speed, doesn't it? Moving fast, reacting quickly, reflection. That feels like a luxury.
We've almost been trained to believe that being busy equals being important or productive.
And that's exactly where the problem lies, leading to burnout, maybe bad decisions, definitely anxiety. Holiday's message flips that script. It's pretty radical, actually. He argues the way forward isn't faster, it's slower.
Slower. How does that work in the real world?
Well, he argues that real success, clarity, even happiness, comes from deliberately cultivating stillness. And crucially, this isn't about zoning out, it's a discipline, a necessary one.
Okay, discipline. And what's interesting is he's not just making this up, right? He pulls from, well, ancient wisdom.
Exactly. He's synthesizing timeless stuff. You've got Stoicism in there, Buddhism, Taoism, but then he makes it really practical by connecting it to real people.
Like who?
Oh, all sorts of. Think Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, dealing with chaos calmly, Winston Churchill finding focus, even athletes like Tiger Woods getting in the zone, or someone like Anne Frank finding inner peace under the most horrific circumstances.
Wow. So stillness is kind of the secret sauce behind a lot of different kinds of success or resilience.
That's the argument. It's this common thread. So what we want to do today here on Book by Book is pull out the biggest lessons, the most practical steps from Stillness is the Key.
Right. We want to give you the tools to find a bit of that clarity, that quiet focus, even when everything around you feels like chaos. So let's start with the core idea. What is stillness, really? Because it sounds passive.
Yeah, that's the first hurdle. The basic idea Holiday puts forward is simple. If you want to master your life, you got to master your mind first. Everything kind of flows from there.
Okay, master the mind. But back to that passivity thing. People hear stillness and maybe picture someone meditating on a mountaintop, totally disconnected from, paying bills or meeting deadlines.
And that's the key distinction Holiday makes right off the bat. It's not idleness. It's definitely not laziness or just doing nothing. It's an active practice.
Active how?
Active across three areas: your mind, your spirit or emotions, and even your body. It's the skill, the cultivated ability to stay calm, think clearly, and be present on purpose, even when things outside are just, well, nuts.
And the big enemy of this clarity, according to Holiday, is our modern obsession with busyness.
Totally. We wear our packed schedules like badges of honor, don't we?
Yeah, I'm so slammed is almost a brag.
Exactly. And it's a trap because all that frantic running around, it
Mhm.
often just hides a lack of real direction. It makes us feel productive, sure, but it stops us from asking the important questions. Am I actually doing the right things? Am I making a real impact?
So the constant motion burns up our focus.
It really does. It diminishes the quality, the depth of whatever we do achieve. Stillness forces that pause, the pause you need to actually think, to discern.
Okay, but let me push back a little.
Yeah.
For a lot of people listening, maybe busyness isn't a choice or a badge. It feels like survival, right? Career demands, financial pressure. Slowing down feels like falling behind. How does stillness fit in there?
That's a really fair point, and it's where the concept gets powerful. Stillness isn't necessarily about doing less. It's about doing what truly matters, but doing it better.
Better how?
By creating some mental space from the pressure. Think about it. Stillness is the difference between, say, getting a panicked email and firing back an equally panicked reply that just makes things worse.
Right.
Versus pausing, taking maybe 10 minutes, breathing, drafting a thoughtful, strategic response that actually solves the underlying problem for good. It's about effectiveness, not just activity.
Okay, I see. So it's about regaining control within the chaos, not necessarily escaping the chaos entirely.
Precisely. And if you can cultivate that internal control, the results are tangible.
Like what? What changes?
Well, stillness becomes your sort of internal governor. It helps you manage your impulses. You stop maybe blurting things out you regret, or stress eating, or impulse buying stuff you don't need.
Okay, impulse control. What else?
Perspective. It gives you the perspective to handle really strong emotions, to see a crisis not just as panic-inducing, but as a problem to be solved, to turn that panic into a plan. Holiday basically says stillness is the bridge connecting excellence, like peak performance, with actual lasting peace.
All right, mind, spirit, body. Let's dig into that first domain, the mind. This feels like the main battleground, right? Against the anxiety, the distractions, that constant inner voice.
Oh, it's relentless, isn't it? That internal chatter. We're just bombarded by our own thoughts, worries, judgments, replays of conversations. So control here doesn't start with trying to silence the thoughts. That's almost impossible. It starts with awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah, just the ability to notice what your mind is doing without immediately getting swept away by it. Observing the thought rather than becoming the thought.
Okay, that sounds a bit like meditation, but Holiday ties it into philosophy too, right? Stoicism.
Mm-hmm.
What's that key idea from Epictetus?
Ah, yes, this is huge. It's the principle. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them.
Say that again?
It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. Basically, the stress you feel about a deadline, a tough conversation, whatever, isn't in the situation itself. It's created inside your head by the story you tell yourself about the situation.
So the panic, the frustration. It's kind of a choice we make based on how we interpret things.
Exactly. It's driven by our perception, which means
Yeah.
we can change it. The practice, then, is creating a little gap between the thing happening and your reaction to it.
So instead of instantly feeling defensive or anxious when, say, you get critical feedback.
You observe it. You notice the thought, there's defensiveness arising, or, okay, feeling anxious now. How do you do it? Holiday suggests labeling.
Labeling, like literally.
Yeah, either internally or, even better, through journaling. You sort of step outside yourself and acknowledge it. Okay, that's my ego getting bruised. Or, that's imposter syndrome talking. You treat the thought like data, not like absolute truth. It creates this buffer zone.
That buffer zone must be crucial under real pressure. The book uses the example of JFK during the Cuban Missile Crisis, right?
A perfect example of choosing stillness under unimaginable pressure. His military advisors were pushing hard for immediate airstrikes on Cuba. Everyone knew that could easily trigger nuclear war.
But Kennedy didn't just react.
No. He consciously paused. He bought time. He set up that special group, the XCOM, specifically to create a structure for deliberation, to take the immediate reactive panic out of the decision.
So he used structure to help create stillness. He deliberately slowed things down, got multiple viewpoints.
And allowed the better decision, the quarantine, not the attack, to emerge from that clarity rather than from impulse. It really backs up that analogy Holiday uses. The mind is like a glass of muddy water.
Muddy water.
Yeah, if you keep stirring it up with frantic action, worry, instant reactions, it stays cloudy. You can't see through it. The discipline of stillness is about letting the glass sit. Don't stir. Let the sediment, the panic, the distractions settle. Clarity emerges naturally.
Okay, so awareness is step one, letting the mud settle. What's next for mastering the mind? Holiday talks about attention being like currency.
Yes, the new currency. And honestly, most of us are basically bankrupt. We spend our attention on, well, junk.
Junk-like.
Like constant negative news, scrolling through social media, comparing ourselves to others, pointless gossip, endless notifications. The principle is simple. Whatever you focus on expands in your reality. What you ignore fades.
So if your attention budget is spent on noise,
That noise becomes your world. It crowds out clear thinking, original ideas, and definitely prevents any sense of stillness. Guarding your attention becomes essential.
it reminds me of what you said about Marcus Aurelius journaling. He didn't have smartphones, but he had the noise of the Roman court, politics, war. His journaling was a way to filter that, right? To focus his attention.
Precisely. He was actively curating his mental inputs. We need to do the same, but maybe more consciously because the distractions are so much louder now. We need, like, scheduled disconnection, maybe a digital Sabbath.
Turning things off intentionally.
Yeah. And replacing that low-value consumption, the endless scrolling, with focused, nourishing input, like deep reading or even just silence. Holiday really hammers this point. Garbage in, garbage out for the mind. You have to control the inputs.
And the result of that guarded attention can be incredible focus, like Tiger Woods in the zone. We always hear about that as if it's magic, but the book suggests it's trained.
Absolutely not luck. It was a skill he practiced relentlessly. He used visualization mentally, playing every shot before he took it. He used his breath to anchor himself in the present moment, blocking out the crowds, the pressure, that zone, that flow state. It's the result of diligently guarding your attention and focusing your mind.
So the analogy Holiday uses, Attention is like sunlight.
Yeah, I love that one. Spread it too thin, trying to warm every little distraction, and it achieves nothing. But focus it, like with a magnifying glass.
It can start a fire.
Exactly. It ignites real change, real progress in whatever you're doing.
Okay, awareness, guarding attention.
Yeah.
What's the third piece for the mind? Something about the ego.
Ah, the ego. Yeah, Holiday argues it's probably the biggest, loudest obstacle to mental stillness. It's that part of us that needs recognition, that compares constantly, that wants control.
The part that needs to be right.
Needs to be right, needs to win, needs to prove itself. It just thrives on the noise of competition and validation.
But hang on, in today's world, especially in business or creative fields, isn't some ego necessary? That drive to succeed, to be recognized. How do you square that with letting go of the ego?
That's a really important nuance. Holiday isn't saying don't be ambitious, he makes a distinction. Humility, which is the antidote to ego, isn't about thinking less of yourself, it's about thinking about yourself less. It's about putting the mission, the work, the purpose ahead of your personal need for glory or validation. Real humility is about accepting reality. You don't know everything, other people might have better ideas, setbacks happen, ego is brittle, it shatters under criticism. Stillness, coming from humility, is strong.
So it's choosing purpose over pride.
That's a great way to put it. Think about Ulysses S. Grant during the Civil War. He was famous for being incredibly calm under immense pressure, even with terrible news coming in. Why? Not because he was unfeeling, but because his focus was entirely on the mission winning the war.
His ego was quiet because the goal was bigger than him.
Right. He wasn't constantly trying to prove he was the smartest guy in the room. He was just focused on the objective. That frees up so much mental energy.
So practically, how do we apply this? How do we quiet the ego?
It means consciously choosing to, admit when you don't know something, to genuinely listen more than you talk, to seek the truth of a situation rather than just seeking validation for your own view.
That act of listening, of not needing to jump in,
Yeah.
it creates space, doesn't it?
It creates huge mental space. When you silence the ego's need to perform, you stop wasting energy on proving yourself, and you can redirect that energy into actual productive work. Holiday uses another good metaphor here. Ego is like a loud, blustering wind, chaotic, directionless. Stillness, born from humility, is like a mountain solid, anchored, unmoved by the storm around it.
Mind. Okay, that's a lot to work on.
Yeah.
Now, the second domain Holiday talks about is the spirit. If the mind was about subtraction, getting rid of noise, and ego is the spirit about addition, cultivating something.
Exactly. It's about cultivating an inner anchor. This focuses more on the emotional and, spiritual side of stillness. It's about alignment. Because, you can declutter your mind perfectly, get super focused, and still feel empty or lost inside.
Why does that happen?
It happens when people achieve all the external markers of success, the money, the status, the accomplishments, but they realize they were chasing someone else's definition of a good life. They feel internally adrift because they weren't following their own compass.
So the cure is finding that inner compass. Authenticity.
Yes. Stillness in the spirit comes from being radically honest with yourself about what you truly value, what you stand for. The example Holiday uses here is Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Roger, how does he fit?
Think about it. He wasn't flashy or loud, but his influence was immense. Why? Because he radiated this quiet, unwavering authenticity and compassion. Everything he did, every word, seemed perfectly aligned with his core purpose, spreading kindness and understanding.
There was no gap between who he seemed to be and who he actually was.
Yeah.
That feels like real peace.
That is profound spiritual peace. And the way to cultivate it, Holiday suggests practical things like daily reflection, asking yourself, what do I really stand for? What's my true north?
And then acting on it.
Critically, making sure your big decisions actually line up with that inner compass. This might mean saying no to a lucrative opportunity if it compromises your values, or saying yes to something smaller that feels deeply right.
It takes courage to do that sometimes.
It really does.
Yeah.
And another part of this spiritual decluttering, which is so important, is forgiveness and gratitude. Holiday points out that holding on to grudges and resentment is like carrying huge mental and spiritual baggage.
Yeah, they take up so much space.
Massive amounts of energy. Forgiveness isn't really about letting the other person off the hook. It's about freeing yourself. Releasing the energy you waste, replaying old hurts. When your spirit is aligned and clear of that clutter, external stuff just doesn't destabilize you as much.
Like the compass metaphor you used earlier.
Exactly. The compass doesn't fight the storm, it just keeps pointing north. Alignment gives you that stability.
Okay, alignment. What's the next piece for the spirit domain? Presence.
Yes, the power of presence. Once you're aligned with your purpose, you can then fully show up for the only reality you actually control, this present moment. This is core Zen philosophy, right? But it's under constant attack today.
Not so.
Well, think about it. Anxiety is just energy wasted, worrying about the future. Regret is energy stuck in the past. Stillness can't live in either of those places. It only exists right here, right now. The trick is noticing when our minds drift and gently pulling them back.
Pulling them back to the present. The book uses Ted Williams, the baseball player, as an example.
Yeah, perfect example of intense presence. He famously said something like, "When I'm at bat, that's all there is, the ball, the bat, and me." He wasn't thinking about the last pitch or the next inning or the crowd. Total immersion in the now. That's what enables peak performance.
So how do we practice that presence in our, non-baseball lives?
It's about shifting from shallow, distracted activity to deep, intentional engagement. When you're working on something important, kill the multitasking. Just focus on that one thing.
Easier said than done.
True, but crucial. And when you're resting, maybe watching a movie, playing with your kids, having dinner, be fully there. Put the phone away. Don't carry that guilt of, I should be doing something productive. Rest fully. Engage fully.
Especially in conversations, right?
Yeah.
Putting the phone down and actually listening.
Oh, absolutely. Truly listening is a form of stillness. Paying respectful attention to the person and the moment, not just waiting for your turn to talk or glancing at notifications.
Ranges the quality of connection.
Completely. Holiday uses a lovely analogy. Life is like music. If you're always rushing, trying to get to the end of the song, you miss the beauty of the notes playing right now. Stillness lets you actually hear the music, note by note.
Okay, mind and spirit. That leaves the third domain. The body. How does our physical state connect to this idea of inner stillness?
They're inseparable. Holiday really emphasizes the mind-body connection. If you're carrying physical tension, hunched shoulders, clenched jaw, it directly creates mental tension. If your mind is racing with anxiety, your body floods with stress hormones.
So taking care of the body isn't just about health, it's about mental clarity too.
Absolutely. The wisest people seem to know this intuitively. Churchill painted a physical, focused activity. Marcus Aurelius exercised regularly, despite being an emperor with immense demands. They needed physical outlets or disciplines to support their mental work.
So what are the practical physical habits we should focus on for stillness? Is it just hitting the gym?
It's often more foundational than that, simpler maybe. Prioritizing sleep is huge, like non-negotiable.
Why is sleep so important for stillness?
Because fatigue doesn't just make you physically tired, it actively magnifies anxiety. It clouds your judgment. It weakens your impulse control. Being well-rested is almost prerequisite number one for mental calm.
Okay, sleep. What else? Movement.
Yes, but specifically mindful movement. Doesn't have to be intense. Walking is fantastic. Stretching, even just conscious, deep breathing.
Breathing. How does that work?
Deep, slow breathing directly signals safety to your nervous system. It engages the parasympathetic rest and digest state, physically calming down those racing thoughts. It's probably the most immediate way to access a state of stillness.
And environment matters too. Physical clutter equals mental clutter.
Definitely. Simplifying your physical space, decluttering your desk, your room has a surprisingly direct impact on decluttering your mind. Less visual noise, less mental noise.
You mentioned Tiger Woods earlier for focus. His later career comeback seems relevant here too, regarding the physical side.
Exactly. He couldn't fully return to his peak mental game until he systematically rebuilt his physical health. He had to recover from injuries, yes, but also rediscover mindfulness through that physical discipline. The body had to be strong and stable for the mind to find its stillness again. You just can't focus properly if you're in pain or exhausted.
It brings us back to that metaphor you mentioned. The body is the vessel, the mind is the sail.
Right. You can have the strongest, most brilliant sail, full of focus, great ideas, but if the vessel, the body, is neglected, unbalanced, leaky, you're not going anywhere effectively. The physical foundation supports everything else.
So mind, spirit, body, bringing it all together. Holiday argues that this isn't just about feeling calm. It's actually the key to greatness.
That's the ultimate synthesis, yes. Stillness isn't just for monks or philosophers. It's the superpower behind peak performance in almost any field. It's the foundation of genuine greatness.
And the examples cross all domains. You mentioned Marcus Aurelius meditating during wartime.
Right, finding profound calm amidst chaos. Then you have someone like Michael Jordan, seemingly slowing down time during high-pressure games, operating from total composure.
And Anne Frank finding inner peace through writing in the annex. that shows stillness is internal, not dependent on external calm.
Absolutely. It's an inside job. The core message is, when you consciously choose to slow down, observe your inner world without judgment, and act from that place of alignment and clarity, that's when the magic happens.
What kind of magic?
Creativity flows more easily, decisions become sharper, less reactive, more strategic, and maybe most importantly, your sense of well-being deepens.
So greatness isn't loud and frantic.
No, it's composed, it's centered. Holiday uses the image of the eye of a hurricane, that point of perfect calm and immense power right in the middle of the raging storm, that stillness enabling greatness.
Okay, this is all compelling, but how do we actually build this stillness?
Yeah.
The book offers some specific tools or frameworks, right?
Yes, thankfully. It's not just theory. He provides practical methods, many drawn from Stoicism and other philosophies, to help you actively cultivate stillness. Think of them as mental frameworks for handling stress and noise.
Let's touch on a few key ones. The first sounds crucial for modern life. The Stoic trichotomy of control. What is that?
This is fundamental Stoic practice. It's about sorting everything you face into 3 simple categories.
3 categories.
Yep. 1, things fully in your control. This is actually a short list, basically. Your thoughts, your judgments, your deliberate actions, your choices, your efforts.
Okay, my choices, my effort. What's category 2?
Things completely outside your control. This is a much longer list. The weather, the past, what other people think of you, the outcome of your efforts. You control the effort, not the result. The economy, traffic. You get the idea.
Uncontrollable stuff. And the third category?
Things you have partial influence over, but not full control. Like the success of a team project, you influence it with your work, but others contribute too. Or your health. You influence it with diet and exercise, but genetics or accidents play a role.
Okay, so control, no control, partial influence. What's the point of sorting things like this?
The point is where you direct your energy. The Stoic mandate is clear. Focus 100% of your precious energy, attention, and effort on category 1, the things you can control.
And the other 2?
Learn to accept them. Radically accept the things you can't control and do your best with the things you only partially influence, but don't tie your peace of mind to controlling them. Stillness comes from putting your energy where it actually makes a difference and letting go of the struggle against the uncontrollable. The worry just fades when you stop fighting reality.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, what's another tool? Negative visualization. That sounds, well, negative.
It does sound counterintuitive, doesn't it? But it's not about dwelling on the negative or just worrying. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, basically, premeditating on potential bad things.
Why would you do that?
You consciously imagine losing things you value, maybe your job, your health, a relationship, not to make yourself miserable, but for 2 key benefits. First, it cultivates incredible gratitude for what you have right now, things you usually take for granted.
Appreciation through contrast.
Exactly. And second, by mentally rehearsing potential difficulties, you kind of strip away their power to shock or paralyze you if they ever do happen. You realize, okay, this would be hard, but I could probably handle it. It's like a mental inoculation against future anxiety.
Interesting. Okay, and then there are the more straightforward habits. Journaling and silence.
Simple, but profoundly effective. Journaling is like externalizing the chaos in your head. You write down tangled thoughts and they become clearer. You vent emotions onto the page so they don't fester inside. You start to see your own patterns. It builds self-awareness like almost nothing else.
And silence. Finding silence seems like the ultimate challenge today.
It is, which is why it's so valuable. Even just 10 minutes of deliberate silence a day. No phone, no music, no podcast, just quiet. That's where you can actually hear yourself think. It's where creativity can bubble up, where you connect with the present moment. Holiday insists silence is a teacher, but you have to actually show up for class.
Okay, those are powerful frameworks. To bring it all home, let's boil this down. If someone listening wants to start practicing stillness today, what are the top actionable steps from the book? Maybe like a quick checklist.
Yeah, let's list out 10 really practical things you can start doing based on everything we've discussed.
Okay, number 1.
Create daily quiet time. Seriously, even just 10 minutes, first thing in the morning or last thing at night, just sit quietly.
Number 2.
Journal. Morning or night, doesn't matter. Dump your thoughts, reflect on the day, ask yourself those alignment questions. Get it out of your head and onto paper.
3.
Say no more. Be protective of your time and energy. If something doesn't align with your core values or priorities, have the courage to decline. Protect your peace.
Number 4 is probably tough for many.
Disconnect digitally. Schedule time away from screens, no phones during meals, maybe an hour before bed. Create tech-free zones or times.
5.
Forgive and let go. Make a conscious effort to release grudges or resentment. Remember, it's mostly for your benefit to free up that mental energy.
6 relates to the body.
Move your body mindfully. Go for a walk without headphones. Do some stretching. Practice deep breathing exercises when you feel stressed. Connect with your physical self.
7.
Single task. Resist the urge to multitask. When you're working, work. When you're reading, read. Give one thing your full attention. Depth requires focus.
8.
Pause before reacting, especially to emails, social media posts, or news that triggers you. Read it, breathe, then decide how to respond thoughtfully, if at all.
9 is about guidance.
Live by principles, not impulses. Know what you stand for, back to that alignment piece, and let those principles guide your actions rather than just reacting emotionally to whatever happens.
And finally, number 10.
End the day with gratitude. Before you sleep, take just a moment to think of 1 or 2 things you're grateful for. It shifts your focus from lack to sufficiency, anchors you in the positive.
That's a fantastic list. 10 really concrete actions anyone can start with.
Absolutely. They bridge the gap between the philosophy and your actual life.
So wrapping this up, Ryan Holiday's Stillness. The key isn't just a self-help book, is it? It feels more like a manual for living sanely in a pretty insane world.
I think that's exactly right. It argues that stillness isn't about checking out. It's the foundation for engaging effectively, for performing at your best, and for finding real, sustainable peace.
It's the source of that clarity, that decisiveness we talked about. The thing that helps leaders lead well and helps all of us handle our own challenges without losing our minds.
It's about finding that internal equilibrium, no matter what's happening externally.
Maybe we should recap with a couple of those really core quotes from the book just to let them sink in.
Good idea. How about this one? The Stoic bedrock. We are not disturbed by what happens, but by our thoughts about what happens. That reminder that our perception shapes our reality.
Yeah, that's powerful. And the call to intentional action. You have to slow down, think deeply, and act with conviction, resisting that urge to just react constantly.
And maybe the simplest but deepest. You can't be happy if you're not present. Bringing it back to the power of right now.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. In a world that seems completely hooked on speed, on more, on faster, maybe choosing stillness isn't passive at all. Maybe it's actually kind of rebellious.
Ooh, I like that. A rebellion against the noise.
Yeah. And in a culture drowning in information and distraction, maybe silence isn't empty. Maybe it's where the real wisdom is found. As Holiday puts it, stillness might just be the key. The key to getting what you want, and maybe even more importantly, the key to letting go of what you don't need.
A perfect place to end. Thanks for exploring Stillness Is the Key with us today.
We really hope you found this summary useful. If you did, please consider subscribing to our channel, Book by Book, for more deep dives into impactful books.
Yeah, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and maybe share it with someone who you think could use a little more stillness in their life. It genuinely helps us keep creating these summaries for you.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time, try to find a little stillness. Farewell.